My name is Alexander Hall. I'm the owner of Dispute Defense Consulting. We help companies identify where their weak spots are in regards to fraud. This exists everywhere between credit card transactions, return policies, and processing over there, fulfillment measures, and marketing. What we do is we help the merchants and the organizations identify where their weak spots are, and then further help them build a defense against the dark arts. I pull on my experience as a fraudster in order to do so, and so far we've had a great success. The dark arts, there's a wide spectrum of them. And it's not just fraudsters who participate in the dark arts, though they're responsible for a lot of them. So dishonest customers, that's a form of fraud in my eyes. If they're taking advantage of your system, you're losing money, you're losing products, you're losing man hours. They're stealing from you, and you need to know how to identify that. Fraud, taking advantage of your credit card systems, taking advantage by putting fake cash into your system, things like that. In addition to that, you have back-end stuff where you establish different companies for B2B transactions, and those people are taking advantage of those setups as well. They exist in every transfer of value that a organization participates in, and it's always best to know what they look like, what the attempts look like, so that way you can stop them in the future. So if you think about a retail transaction, you have someone on the outside, of a person of the public, just putting in a transaction with credit card information. Well, that's easy. That's B2C. That's business to customer. When you consider B2B, typically the wholesale divisions that are reserved for B2B are reliant on establishing accounts. Establishing an account will include things like a business license, the EIN number, practices, stuff like that, Google listings. They reserve wholesale distribution to B2B, so it's business to business. That form of identity is a lot different from a retail setting. In order to identify fraud in that aspect, it takes a different rule set than what you would expect in business to customer or retail. There are two primary examples that I've encountered. One is where a person fictitiously creates an identity as a business, and then they get the benefit of dealing with the business for wholesale, though they're establishing it fraudulently, right? So that's one example. That's a small example. The second example is when wholesalers go through the return policies and the return practice, the return processing, their single order returns might be worth a lot more. So if you can find a system that breaks, that you can exploit, you can process $300,000 worth of returns by submitting boxes with rocks in it and sending it off to the merchant, to the wholesaler. Because the thing is typically in a B2B environment, you're not checking every single box to see what the components are, if everything's in it. You just want to get it in, issue the credit, and then move on to the next one. Well, wholesalers will and distribution centers will learn that people are taking advantage of that system a lot. So not all of us are stuck on A/B transactions. It's just, we get information and we use it. We get information. No, there's full cycle fraud that goes into play. There's things that are like profile building, where you go and establish credit lines. You sit on something for 6 months. You've got 20, 30 different profiles that are running. And at the end of the 6-month cycle, you end up having $300,000 worth of stolen credit cards that are established in your name with a safe shipping address that you established over that time. So there's a lot of preparation that goes into effective practices and effective methods. So I made a post called "What You See Is Not What You Get." And it's based on that. As a merchant fraud prevention specialist, you only see the transaction, but there could be 2 years worth of profile building behind that. And that's something that a lot of people aren't aware of that I aim to help with. So what brought me to the point in my life today is a combination of two things. One, I operated for a long time being a bad person, and I learned a lot over there. And one thing that I feel I can pull on that makes my experience really valuable is the fact that I would say 80% of what I authored and 80% of what I regularly took part in has yet to be identified by the fraud prevention industry, which is why I'm working to identify it, put it out in the world, make everyone conscious of it. But more importantly than just that fun bit is the birth of my daughter. My wife put out the ultimatum saying that if you're going to be a father and a husband, you're also going to clean up your act and you're going to drop all this BS. It took time to build up the courage to do that, but I did that and turned myself in. I have 5 months left on probation as of today. So good on that. And looking forward, I want to be a superhero to my daughter. I want her to know that I did good things in the world. I want her to know when she gets old enough to know what daddy does, I want her to know what I do. It's something I'm proud of. It's something she can be proud of. But then more, I guess, more affecting over the world. What, in order to have a bigger effect over the world, I want to make different organizations prepared for, the more advanced methodologies that are employed by effective fraudsters. So that's really the goal. I want to make a difference in economy. So in regards to my Tweezenars, what I expect to do, or what I am looking forward to do, is so first I have the School of Fraud, which is going to kind of categorize the progression to being a master fraudster from the very beginning. So that way you can have kind of an inside perspective from a fraudster's point of view regarding what the hierarchy looks like. After that, I want to take it and lay out some methodologies that are going to be encountered from different levels of business. So you would start off with in-store retail, then you would start off with then you would graduate to e-commerce, then corporate, and then all the way out to insurances. Because every single step of the way, you're going to have different requirements for fraud prevention. So every stage of the way will have something like you have to identify where your transfers of value are. You have to identify what your rules need to be. You need to establish data management so that you can track the attempts, and then you can track what took place, the end results. And then after that, you need to work on prevention. So that's the second stage. It's the graduation from small business to corporate to enterprise, all the way out to insurance providers, things like that. And then another one after that, I would like to move a little bit further out into teaching people how to put together fraud methodologies as a good guy, as a good person, to be able to really establish the mindset. One thing that a lot of fraud prevention specialists say is you have to think like a fraudster in order to be effective at our job. Well, yeah, that would help. But if I can train people to think the way I used to think, I figure that would be a good benefit. So that way they don't need me anymore. You already know what you need to know. Now just apply it where you sit. So go ahead. And I would love to give that away. Yeah, that's it. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me on Tweezzle Talk TV. I want to thank you for sharing your time with us. And I also want to make sure to let you know that you'll be blown away by our other subject matter experts. Feel free to visit us at tweezzle.com for more great content, and have a great day.
Hello? You can start.
Oh, you just want me to start talking?
Yeah, just start
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. This is so funny. I was like, maybe he's getting into character.